So next up, I'm going to go review how to put in a button that toggles something. In my case, I'm going to toggle my background. The finished result looks like this. You can see the more stuff we add, the longer this takes to load. There we go. Right? Real simple. I can just toggle between two different colors of the sky. Okay. And the way I'm going to achieve this, if I go back to my original that I'm working on, first of all, I need something that has, in this case, it's binary, so it's got to be either or. So in this case, I need a sky that has two different options. And the way we do this is you can see by this dot right here that this is actually a movie clip. Right? It's called, I believe, Sky MC. And if I double click on it, you can see there are two. Well, there's 3 frames. That shouldn't be there. We're going to get rid of that. Okay. There are 2 frames. One is orange. One is pink. And technically there is action scripting on, there we go, both of them. And all it is, if I click on this, there we go. They both just say stop. What this is for is to prevent the sky from flickering violently back and forth. If you have something that's flickering like that, whether it's the button or the background or the character or whatever it is, what's happening is the movie clip itself needs a stop function on each frame in order to keep it, because it's auto plays basically is how it works. Alright, so I have my sky. Next up, I made a button, and it's called Sky Button, so I'm just gonna copy this dude and paste him. There we go. Alright, so the sky button is also a movie clip. Now, I'm not making it a button because I want to have something with just 2 frames. I will perhaps make a video later that shows a little bit of a cheat so you can have an overstate. But for right now, we're just going to have a movie clip that has an either or. So if I double click on it, again, there's 2 frames, and you can see my little indicator of which color sky you're going with just simply switches back and forth. One reason we can get away with this not being a button is because since I have 2 different states in terms of the either or, you don't really need a click state, right? Like actual buttons, we have that down state, as it were, where when you click on it, it's going to look different. But technically, because this is toggling back and forth, we kind of don't want that. That would just be too many different things happening at once, right? So every time you click on it, it switches back and forth between one and the other. Alright, so I have a button that has an either or, and I have in this case, sky that has an either or. And it's just frame 1 and frame 2. Okay, good. And so now I'm going to open up my ActionScript window. And if you can't see your timeline, you can also change what part of your timeline you're on right here. So it lists all the different places that action scripting exists. So within the main scene, there's frame 1, that's the button, and then frame 2 is the main game. And then also on my Sky movie clip, there is a frame 1 and a frame 2. Now you'll notice that my button actually doesn't have any action scripting in it yet, but we're going to add that within the actual script here. Alright, so I'm going to bring up the doc that says toggle button code, and this is at the bottom. The sound is the one at the top. We'll go over that later. But this bottom section here, it's just going to go right below the main game, right below that little last stop. And the reason we don't have to put any stop commands inside the button is because we can actually say it right here. We can say Sky Button, stop! Don't play back and forth. If I was to take that out, actually, we're going to comment that, a little / there. Well, there's also things missing, but you can see the sky going back and forth there, the button. So we're going to take that out. Alright, so Sky Button stop, meaning don't flicker back and forth. Alright, next up, before we go over the code, we have to make sure, it's just occurred to me, that our button also has an instance name. I copied it over in a different manner than I did the sky. So we have to call it sky_button. I'm calling it that because that's how my code is written. As long as you name this the same as you name this right here, you'll be fine. So it doesn't have to be sky button, it could be whatever you need as long as this and the instance name are the same. Alright, so sky button stop simply means don't play through the animation on the button. Now, in order to do any type of toggle, I actually have to sort of make up an idea, make up a thing, which I've called skied, and tell Flash that this thing can be either true or false. And then that way we will be going back and forth. We have to set it up that it can be true or false. Otherwise, if you just look at a movie clip, well, it can have as many frames as you want. So I've said this variable called skied, just has to be a different name than anything else, is a Boolean. Now, Boolean is a math term for either or. It means true or false. And right now it equals true. Alright, so then I say, well, my sky button, I need to add an event listener when you click, right? Same as before with the enter button. And I'm calling it toggle sky. So that's the function that will be called every time you click on this button. And now this is the part where it gets a little complicated. My toggle sky function, it has 3 different things it has to do. The bottom 2 are the easiest to understand because basically it's saying if it's on frame 1 for the button, go to frame 2. If it's on frame 1 for the movie clip, go to frame 2. Otherwise, go to frame 1. What it's saying is go back and forth between the two. If you're on frame 1 for the button and someone clicks, then it needs to switch to the second one. And if you're on the second one, then it needs to switch to the first one. This top part is saying basically if skied is untrue, then make it true. If not, make it false. It's saying this thing, when you're flipping back and forth between these two, you also have to flip back and forth between true and false. And that's in order for Flash to know which state it's on. Because it's not reading the fact that this is on frame 1. What it's reading is skied as an idea true? And if it's true, go to frame 1. If not, go to frame 2. That's what this shorthand means. If it's true, do this. If not, do this. This one has this little exclamation point, meaning if it's not true. Meaning when you click, if it's not true, make it true. If it is true, make it false. Right? Or if not, make it false. Excuse me. Now, for those of you that are maybe feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all that, all you have to know is as long as you name your button, you can name it pig. It could just be pig button, and make sure you call it that here, and it will still work as long as you have one frame and the other frame. So if I go to test this, oh, something is in the wrong spot. Because we don't want that showing up. Aha, yes. We're going to cut that and we're going to paste it there because we only want it to show up in the beginning. And if I click on use sky button, much better. Okay, let's try that again. Much better. Let me click. Haha. Alright, so usually that flickering is a sign that either something's in the wrong place or something has the wrong name. But otherwise, so make sure everything is in the right frame. But otherwise, it's usually a matter of naming stuff. All it needs to be is consistent. I can call this function whatever I want, right? Or this variable, excuse me. I can call this variable whatever I want as long as every time it's in here, I change it to blah. So, yes, blah, blah, blah. So that term is arbitrary. It has the string of letters, BLAH, has no meaning for Flash except that you have told it that these 4 letters, when they are together, mean a thing. Same with this toggle sky. I can name that whatever I want as long as this has the same name, because this right here is defining what this is. Now you just have to be careful that you don't name it. You can't name it stop or play or event, click. These are words that Flash intrinsically has in its vocabulary, and you will see them turn blue or purple or green or something, and that's Flash's way of telling you that's a thing we do, don't name it that. Alright, so all your variables like this and this, they should be black lettering. Like when I wrote stop, it turned blue. So just make sure that these are still black, and it will actually tell you in the output or compiler errors. There we go. It would say that line, 170 has something wrong with it, and so you can double check that.